Whoa. Okay. When I started off the podcast and said, what are your Christmas hot takes? I did not expect it to be like an inferno.
Why don't you do the
Welcome.
intro this time?
Well, I was going to start off by asking, do you have any Christmas hot takes?
Christmas hot takes.
Do you want me to tell you mine?
Yes.
I think Christmas music, for the most part, sucks.
Yeah. I have a mental rule that I'm not allowed to listen to Christmas music until the week of Christmas.
Same.
Because I will get really
So sick of
irritated with it.
So irritated.
Yeah.
And I have people telling me, no. As soon as Thanksgiving's done, it's Christmas music time.
Fuck you. If that's you, fuck you. Respectfully. No, because here's what's happening. Christmas music goes into your ears. So if you're listening to it, I'm also listening to it. So it's not like if I was like, you know what, after Thanksgiving, I'm allowed to eat dairy until Christmas and then I stop because I'm going to shit my pants. No, it's you're listening to dairy out loud where everybody else also has to listen to dairy.
And we're all shitting our pants.
And we're all shitting our pants.
Especially me.
Yeah, so fuck you if you are fucking up our airspace.
We are really in the spirit of the holiday season right now. Merry fucking Christmas.
Merry fucking Christmas.
But you know the other thing too is I don't get excited when it's like so-and-so insert, pop star name or famous, musician name has put out their Christmas album or like, here's their cover of, I go, I don't care.
I don't care. I don't want it. And we also are at this point with Christmas music where it's like, it doesn't matter if you can't sing, everybody's allowed to make a Christmas song. So it's like they'll throw a 5-layer cheese dip on there of auto-tune. I don't know what that means. That doesn't make any sense. They'll throw like 5 layers of auto-tune and they'll be like, what's a Christmas song?
Yeah.
Anybody can make a Christmas song.
So what we're saying is Let Me Know is going to put out a
Christmas album. I should just auto-tune our voices. Let's do... I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. That's all going to be auto-tuned.
Yeah,
and you're going to love it. Just put it on cycle. By the way, welcome back to the Let Me Know podcast.
Oh, yes.
I'm
Hi.
Sam.
I'm Caroline.
And I am Scrooge McDuck.
I am Caroline McGrinch. Yeah. The holidays all bleed into one another. I mean, there's no separation anymore. There's no separation of powers.
No
right?
separation of Christmas and state.
It's just like our government. Look, I'm not as Grinch-like about Christmas overall as I think you are.
I think I'm just being dramatic.
I think we're both being dramatic. You know what the other thing too is I think being in California sucks all the Christmas spirit out.
Because it's 80 degrees.
It's 80 degrees.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Midwest where there was snow. Christmas to me is snow.
Yeah.
It's cold. It's cozy.
In Oregon, it would snow sometimes, but in Oregon, you wake up at 5 a.m. and there's snow, and then by 7 it's gone. But it's cold.
Yeah.
Like everybody's wearing visually what you would imagine.
Right.
But we went ice skating and it was
melting.
Sweating. It was melting.
The ice was melting. It was so hot out.
It was so hot out.
But yeah, I think since I moved to Los Angeles almost 9 years ago, it also just, I don't know, Christmas season, it don't hit.
Corporate-y. It's 80 degrees.
I think Christmas relies very heavily on nostalgia.
It does. Because like being a kid, going to bed, like tucking in your little bed, being like, oh my gosh, I know there's presents. Did you ever go peek at presents?
One time I was convinced that I heard Santa Claus.
One time I went downstairs at like 3, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember if it was in the middle of the night or if my parents were just gone, but I saw one particular present that I was like, I think I know what that is and I need to look. So I went and I like very carefully unwrapped like one of the corners of the present and I peeked and it wasn't. And I felt so guilty that I never did it ever again. Like I remember patching it back up and just being like, my mom.
You went into your room and you whipped yourself.
I was just like, Dobby.
Dobby is sorry, Mr. Potter.
Conk, like hitting my head. My mom's like, stop it.
Yeah, I basically stayed awake one night because I wanted to see Santa Claus. And I could have sworn that I heard something on the roof. And click, click. However that song goes.
He's a pervert.
And I remember sneaking out of my room. And then I decided, you know what? I don't want to see. Right?
I don't want to see the magic.
Because I think I realized that it was better to just let Santa Claus do his thing. Yeah.
My mom used to do this thing for Christmas where me and her would take a mixed bag of oats and glitter and we would spread it in the driveway for the reindeer. And the next morning I would wake up and it would be gone. So I was convinced. I remember being suspicious. I was an only child, so I was suspicious. I was like, Santa's not real. Like I just kind of have like a feeling. I'm a realist, okay? Like,
how old were you?
Like 1. Like like from the age of object permanence.
So you were just born cynical.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
I don't think so. You're like, actually, you were boss baby.
I was
the OG.
Yeah, but I remember being skeptical, but I was like, how the fuck does she clean that up in the middle of the night? So I was like, all of my suspicions I had to throw out the window because my mom simply couldn't be capable of cleaning up all of the oats. And I realized as an adult now that the reason she put the glitter in with it is because she probably went out there with a flashlight in the middle of the night or at like 5 a.m. or something and like needed to find the oats.
Yeah.
Right. So she needed it to be like visible. So I still don't know.
But from a young age, you were on the case.
I was like, Mom, you got me there.
Can I tell you that I believed in Santa until I was 10?
Yeah.
You believe this about me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Because you're whimsical and I think you'd want to believe.
Yeah.
I think that you would be like, no.
I was also like sheltered. I didn't know about anything in the world. Yeah. I just had my books
and whimsy,
and I would do my plays. And I was a whimsical child, just very theatrical. And it was, I think that's why I believed in the Tooth Fairy for a long time too.
My mom just gave me the container of all of my teeth.
Your baby teeth?
I have them.
No.
I have them. And she, like, I used to write notes. I have the funniest. I wish I knew where it was. I'd go get it. I wrote on the note, like, hey, Tooth Fairy, this is for you. And then on the back, I wrote, like, if you're real, let me know. Like, I was sussing her out. Yeah, let me know. I was basically, like, sussing her out. Like, can you leave me a clue if you're real? Or, like, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I was like, hey, bitch, I'm on to you. But give me my money.
Okay, so the Tooth Fairy was a woman.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think we all thought Tooth Fairy's a woman, Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, man. Yeah. Easter Bunny, non-binary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny is we don't have a Halloween mascot.
We don't.
And pumpkins.
Because there's a lot of, figures
Freddy
associated
Krueger.
with Halloween. You have ghouls and goblins and witches and skeletons and...
Freddy Krueger's a twink. I'm just saying.
That's your assessment.
Mm-hmm.
What about Michael Myers?
He's a bear.
He's a bear.
Yeah, I will be by myself for Christmas, and my dog has diarrhea. So the spirit of Christmas is flowing.
How joyful!
Yeah,
deck the halls with diarrhea. La 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 la.
Yeah, she really is. Actually, she's decking the yard with diarrhea.
With diarrhea.
It's fucking foul.
You know what? I so relate to her, though. Are there any Christmas movies that you do like? Because I do think that there are ones that warm my heart. That I do like
which
to
one
watch
I
every
like?
year. Elf. Mm-hmm. You love Elf.
I do like Elf.
Yeah.
I've watched Elf a lot, though, and I don't know if it's nostalgic, but like Elf genuinely made me laugh a lot when it came out.
It's hard to make you laugh.
And it is hard to make me laugh. I never laugh. I'm known for that.
And I'm known for not
laughing. No, I like Elf. I'm trying to think what other movies are...
Home Alone. Come on.
Macaulay Culkin. My guy.
Whoa. Okay. When I started off the podcast and said, what are your Christmas hot takes? I did not expect it to be like an inferno. Wait, you haven't seen Home Alone?
It just always seemed cheesy. And I watched Rat Trap, which is basically the same thing.
You might be Rat
Race? What's that movie with it's the same? It's Home Alone, but different. There's a kid at home and somebody tries to break in and he leaves rat traps all over the house.
I don't.
There's a movie called. Hold on, hold on.
I'm sorry. I don't think I've been able to like fully process the information that you've never seen Home
Trap
Alone.
movie. No, not that.
You might be the last person ever
Rat.
to have not seen Home Alone.
Kid Home Alone Rats. I'm not. Maybe it was Home Alone. Did they use rat traps in Home Alone?
Yes.
No, there's another movie that has to do with a kid home alone and there's rat traps.
If you Google Kid Home Alone, the only thing that's going to pop up is Home Alone. That is how.
You're right. That would make sense. I just didn't get shown things that were popular when they were popular. Like my parents would show me like the things that they liked, but like classic movies that were coming out when I was a kid didn't really like make it to me.
Huh. I think Home Alone was one that was particularly near and dear to my heart because I grew up
Home Alone.
I grew up in the burbs, and in fact, the church that's in Home Alone that Kevin hides in the nativity, that was my church.
Like actually
Literally.
The same church?
Now, the inside of the church is a different church. So they film scenes on the interior of this like big, beautiful church, but then they film a scene on the exterior of a church, and there's this part where Kevin hides in the nativity outside the church. That was my church.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Huh.
And so a lot of just like the feeling and atmosphere of Home Alone is like,
just like that's familiar.
Yeah, it's really familiar.
Okay, I don't know what the plot is of that movie, but in
you know
my
what I
head,
want you to do? I want you to tell me what you think the plot is.
In my head, they're trying to kidnap him, and he's trying to defend himself. The kidnappers.
Okay.
There's a big guy, and then there's a slightly smaller guy.
Okay.
Because there always is.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. They're basically like the henchmen from Dalmatians.
Yeah.
But
it's
the
a
kidnappers.
real archetype of.
So they're trying to kidnap him for like maybe he's like the governor's son.
Okay.
And they're trying to kidnap him for a Christmas ransom.
For Christmas ransom.
And
what does he do?
He puts like rat traps on the floor.
Okay.
And there's a part where he goes like this. Right?
Yeah.
In the mirror.
He smooths it. Yeah. Okay, so you've seen a little bit.
I've seen the clips. I've seen the best of.
Okay, do you want me to tell you? Mm-hmm. So it's not that they're trying to kidnap him. Mm-hmm. It's that they're trying to rob the house. So they're called the Wet Bandits.
Ew.
Harry and Marv. And they are robbers.
Yeah.
And so they are, they're going around to nice neighborhoods and seeing who's going to be out of town for the holidays so that they can rob them. Yeah. And the McAllisters are going to Paris. Mm-hmm. And Harry and Marv
How does he get left home alone?
Well,
one eternity later.
Can you imagine if the house had a gun? Yeah, that'd be a crazy different plot, like a shotgun.
Yeah, Kevin. Well, there's another version of Home Alone where Kevin just blows them all to hell. Well, the thing is that there've been Home Alone is so culturally huge.
Yeah,
it's probably I think it's probably the biggest Christmas movie.
Yeah,
and there are so many think pieces, so many YouTube videos. Like I watched one the other day where somebody said that Kevin McAllister grows up to become Jigsaw.
Oh.
There's so many theories.
He loves the traps.
So much about Home Alone. But one thing is that there have been essays written about how the traps that Kevin sets and like the things that happen to Harry and Marv would kill them.
Yeah.
Speaking of Macaulay Culkin, let's bring this back around because Macaulay Culkin was just in another
phenomenal cinematic
Christmas piece of
art. Kim Kardashian, who is known for her musical
talent, really just known for her artistic endeavors.
She put out a music video, which is so funny because does she sing in it?
It's her singing, and it's produced by Travis Barker. It's her Santa baby.
But the thing that's weird about it is like it's not
There's a
like
lot
she's
that's- yeah.
singing. So hold on, let me lay out what
she's
the
not
music
like
video
lip
is.
syncing in the video or anything. It's like the
No.
song is playing in the background, but it's
So-
her. It's her cover of Santa Baby.
Let me set the scene.
Okay, set the scene.
So Kim Kardashian put out this music video for Santa Baby. And the way that it starts out is it is Kim Kardashian. I don't remember what she's wearing.
She's wearing
but
a blue
she's got
cardigan and Skims
Skims, yeah.
and a blonde.
She looks like
wig.
the morning after, kind of. And she's crawling around this house. And in the house, there are lots of just very odd things that are happening. Like it opens it up. There's some like businessmen that are on the phone, look like they're discussing deals. And I'm sure it's not, but the music video is meant to look like one shot. So it follows Kim Kardashian as she literally is crawling throughout the house. And there's this Santa Baby that is playing in the background of the music video. It sounds like there's a radio in one of the rooms. So as the camera turns, it'll kind of like go away and then it'll come back. Like the music is not necessarily the forefront of the music video. It just exists as an accessory in it. And it will just pan to all these different things. Like there is some guys like throwing a football. There is a donkey. Was Kylie Jenner the wise man, or was that somebody else that looked like Kylie Jenner?
I don't know. Maybe.
It might have been.
Yeah, there's all these scenes, all these
weird things happening. A lady cutting all of the branches off of a Christmas tree.
Right. It's supposed to be a Christmas party of some kind, but
yeah,
it's filmed with this very like VHS grainy retro vibe where
gritty.
Yeah, I mean it feels like a mashup knockoff of David Lynch, Vincent Gallo, this kind of a horror
It has
to
horror
this
element,
Christmas
It's eerie.
atmosphere.
It's a little off-putting.
But can I tell you what the main problem is? Kim Kardashian is herself a blank slate.
Yeah.
She's like a cipher.
Yeah.
She does not have character. She does not have personality. So you stick her in like this art house style, music video. You put you dress her in the fashion of Princess Diana or Marilyn Monroe. And this has just been the problem with Kim, is that she herself does not have character. She just is such a blank slate that artists will, thrust their art upon, but ultimately it just never really hits.
I thought in my head, and this is such a bad take, but I was like, if you replace Kim Kardashian with anybody else, I'd probably like this.
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, oh, this is really interesting.
What the other thing too is, because Kim is is first and foremost a businesswoman, right?
Yeah.
She's not an artist. It feels like a Skims ad because it's,
Yeah.
I think, directed
I think it
by
is. The way that it
kind of is a
shoots,
Skims ad.
I immediately looked up Kim Kardashian Santa Baby analysis, and there wasn't anything because nobody knows what to do with it.
No,
Everybody's
because
like, it's probably not that
Kim
deep.
just doesn't do anything that's inherently that fascinating, because I don't think she's a fascinating person. Because ultimately, Kim became famous in 2007, so she's been famous with a capital F for the better part of
long
17
enough. I can't
years.
even mental math it.
I know. But the thing about her is that her origins, she was a rich valley girl, right? She comes from not the money that the Kardashians obviously have now, but they were well off.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that Kim, like 14 years ago, put out a song. Okay.
Yeah.
She put out her first song. It was called Jam, Turn It Up. Influencer girlies, or before they were called, before they were influencers.
Yeah, what were they called before that?
I guess they were like
Because before social media,
like Paris Hilton, Kim
personalities,
K, just socialites, personalities.
Yeah.
That's like what a Hailey Bieber was.
Yeah.
She was the next generation though.
Yeah.
And Kim, I mean, you remember that Kim started she was Paris Hilton's assistant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's like
And
why
she was like
everybody knew
hanging
her.
around. Paris Hilton was very famous.
Yeah.
She was like one of the it girls of the early 2000s. And Kim was hanging around her, and that's how Kim kind of,
it's like, who's this
started
person?
to grow her recognition and brand, etc. The problem is that Kim trying to dip her toe into anything that is artsy, like this Santa Baby music video, just doesn't hit.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit. But what's funny is that when I first saw this, I knew what the reaction was going to be from people on the right. And it is exactly what I thought it would be, which is that this is demonic. That this is
demonic,
like that this is a stain on the Christian nature, the Christian element of Christmas.
Yeah, because it looks
And how
like a
this
frat
is like,
party.
yeah, this is like satanic shit.
Okay, but did you see the person in the reindeer costume? Because that shit was scary. Do you remember that one? It pans over, and
Wait,
then
I'm trying to remember.
in the hallway, there's a person in like a reindeer costume
right.
with these two business guys like feeling
right.
it, and I was like,
that's what I mean by like it obviously pulls from David Lynch films.
I didn't hate it. The music video,
I didn't hate it either.
Kim was weird in it.
I didn't hate it either. I just think ultimately Kim Kardashian is not the vehicle for a project like that.
No, but I think, like I said at the beginning, put anybody else in that slot, I probably would have been like, that was really interesting. Like, let's do a deep dive on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Kim is in it, I don't want to do a deep dive on it because I was just like, all right.
Just like, I don't.
Yeah.
Have you seen all the news about Blake Lively's legal complaint as it pertains to It Ends With Us?
I have been keeping up a little bit with it, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I do know, however, that I was bamboozled.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember, if you look back in our old episodes, I think that there is a mention of Blake Lively where I said, because of the da-da-da.
I mean, I covered this extensively on stream, and I made amends when I read that entire report, and when I read a lot of the lawsuit, which was made available by the New York Times. I went, you know what? This was a successful smear campaign, and I fed right into it. So let me give you a brief rundown, and for anybody who doesn't know,
give us the summary.
This is all about. So really all of these events kicked off in the summer. As you remember, when It Ends With Us was first doing press because the movie was coming out, there was stuff that started popping up, right? Where people were like, why isn't the cast doing press with the director of this film, It Ends With Us? And you had TikTok sleuths who were looking into the matter because this movie, It Ends With Us, which Blake Lively stars in, and she also, I think, has a producer credit on, and is directed by Justin Baldoni, who plays the male lead in the film. He plays the role of her husband and abuser. It's a film about domestic violence. It's an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's novel, It Ends With Us. So they start doing press for this film, and people start to notice that Justin Baldoni is separate from the rest of the cast, including Colleen Hoover, who wrote the book. And they, had unfollowed him on Instagram, or weren't following him at all. And so the internet sleuths started to kind of theorize about what was going on. And then what happened was all of these media pieces, one after the other, started coming out that painted a pretty bad picture of Blake Lively, to the extent of Blake Lively is not taking domestic violence seriously. Look at how she is, doing press for this movie where she's making this very wholesome, uplifting thing when the subject matter of the film is very serious.
Right.
And then you compare it to Justin Baldoni, who is doing press alone, but he's actually talking about domestic violence. He's talking about the need to talk about this, pervasive problem, and how he is an advocate for women and blah, blah, blah.
That's what had reached me.
Yeah.
And that's what made me go, ew, ick.
And then there were all these stories about how Blake Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, had gotten into creative fights with Justin Baldoni and seemingly used their weight as like a power couple with, much more famous than Justin Baldoni. He was like a guy on Jane the Virgin. Nobody, nobody really knew who Justin Baldoni was. No. But that Blake and Ryan had thrown their weight around to take creative control from Justin, how they had put forth their own cut of the film that then Sony was like, yeah, this is the cut that we're going to go with. And the picture that was being painted was, okay, Blake and the cast and Colleen Hoover are separate from Justin Baldoni, so clearly something went wrong here. And it seems that it has to do with Blake wanting to take creative control of this project.
Mm-hmm. Like power couple swooping in. Hey, we're going to make this how we want to make it.
On
small director, poor guys getting steamrolled by big celebrities.
Right, exactly. And then it was like hit after hit after hit on Blake Lively, where, there's this old interview of Blake Lively where this Norwegian entertainment journalist asks her about her pregnancy, and Blake kind of responds, very snippy and kind of seems like a bitch.
Yeah, the internet was just like, wait, Blake Lively might be a bitch. Wait,
like,
Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, not the dream couple.
And then pulling up all this stuff like, remember when Blake Lively got married on a plantation? Clearly, this is a horrible woman. Like,
Right.
So what we now know is that all of this was all in the service of a smear campaign that was led by Justin Baldoni, his longtime PR rep, Jennifer Abel, and a PR expert, Melissa Nathan, who is now notorious for running these very effective, kind of unseen, undetected digital smear campaigns. She is the owner of the PR company that also had Johnny Depp as a client. And so they ran a very effective smear campaign against Amber Heard. On Friday, the news that comes out, and this is the New York Times big report, is that Blake Lively had filed a legal complaint against Justin Baldoni, the film's lead producer, Jamie Heath, the production studio, and a number of public relations agents and firms. And that is because, and this is a precursor to a lawsuit. So it's not technically a lawsuit, but it's a legal complaint. So if they, maybe end up settling, then this will go no further. And what she is alleging is that she was the target of a smear campaign because she had brought up her concerns and requested boundaries to be set to prevent further sexual harassment and inappropriate conduct during the filming of It Ends With Us. Blake Lively requested a list of demands to ensure safety on the set. And these demands, and I hate the word demands because it sounds so negative, right? But these demands included no more unwanted kissing, no more doing things without Blake's consent, no more walking into her trailer as she is naked, having body makeup removed. No more walking into her trailer as she's breastfeeding her child.
She was like, hey, can I go pump because I have a baby and I've been filming for 6 hours?
Yes. Yeah. It basically, it's a very reasonable list that she was requesting, that it's like, I cannot believe this behavior was happening in the first place. Apparently, he was claiming that he could speak to her father who died a few years ago. And I don't know if this relates to the religious organization he's a part of. Maybe cult. I don't know.
Okay.
But that was one bizarre part of this list of demands where it's like, what the fuck was happening on this set?
Yeah, so I pulled up, there's like a couple like specific excerpts from I'm assuming this is the lawsuit that she, and they're just really hard to read because it was like when I heard that she was filing a lawsuit against him, I was like, okay, interesting. Like, what's this going to include? I didn't realize that it was going to be this bad. So I'm just going to read a couple of them.
Okay.
So this one says, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath failed to implement COVID protocols when there was a COVID outbreak on set. Miss Lively was told by another producer that Wayfarer, which Wayfarer is...
That's the studio.
The studio.
Is his studio.
Wayfarer did not have insurance coverage for COVID. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath deliberately withheld from Miss Lively that she had been exposed to COVID, and both Miss Lively and her infant child contracted COVID. Her baby.
They didn't tell her. She found out.
Mm-hmm. And this is another one. It says, Miss Lively was not given proper lactation breaks by Wayfarer during filming, which sometimes stretched into 6 hours without a break. When filming finally broke, Miss Lively would have to run to her trailer to breastfeed. The lack of accommodations for her need to express milk caused her to develop painful mastitis. Another one, Miss Lively caught strep throat. Mr. Baldoni offered as a gift to connect her with an expert he had on retainer to help her with probiotics to combat the sickness. When Miss Lively went to fill out the privacy forms, she saw that the expert was not what Mr. Baldoni had represented her to be, but was instead a weight loss specialist. Miss Lively felt once again, and there's repeated instances of him like bamboozling her to talk to a weight specialist.
Cartoonishly evil.
Like it's like she walks into the office and it's like, you again, because he would like trick her into talking to weight specialists.
Yeah, and he brought up her weight to her trainer, and then
that's this one that I just pulled up.
But when that story came out in the summer, it was made to seem like because he had back problems.
Right.
And he had to carry her at
one
point.
It says that Mr. Baldoni had told the trainer that he had asked because he was concerned about having to pick Miss Lively up in a scene from the movie. There was no such scene. So he's telling the weight specialist, hey, I need to pick her up.
Right.
Can you tell her to lose weight?
There was no scene that he needed to pick her up.
This one's longer, but I can kind of like summarize basically. Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, they would just walk into her trailer when she was like, tits out, breastfeeding, dressing.
And she'd be like, can you look away?
Yeah. And they'd be like, hey, no, we're coming on in.
Yeah. They would talk to her. Justin Baldoni talked to her about previous sexual encounters he had where he was like, I don't think I always got consent.
Yeah.
Like that it was just, and it wasn't just her, it was in front of her assistant.
Her assistant was like, hey, I don't think you should be alone with this guy.
Yes. Her driver was like, I'm not comfortable.
This is a longer one. I'm gonna read the whole thing. On another day, Miss Lively wore a low-cut dress to facilitate breastfeeding, but it had covered it up with a coat. When the jacket briefly popped open at one point to reveal the dress, Mr. Baldoni commented about how much he liked her outfit, which flustered Miss Lively. Later that day, Mr. Baldoni pressured Miss Lively to remove her coat in front of the crew and multiple background actors in a packed bar. He said he wanted to see her onesie under the coat because it was zipped low to reveal her lace bra. Consistent with past practice, he said, I think you look sexy, in a tone that made her feel exposed. With other female cast present, she said, that's not what I'm going for. He bristled and replied, I'm sorry, hot. Deeply uncomfortable, Miss Lively said, not that either. Mr. Baldoni responded sarcastically, I guess I missed the HR meeting, and walked away. This is the one that was horrific to me. When the birth scene was filmed, the set was chaotic, crowded, and utterly lacking in standard industry protections for filming nude scenes, such as choreographing the scene with an intimacy coordinator, having a signed nudity rider, or simply turning off the monitors so the scene was not broadcasted to all crew on set and their personal phones and iPads. Yeah, because all it takes is like the intern to, okay, Blake Lively's shit is... Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni also failed to close the set, allowing non-essential crew to pass through while Miss Lively was mostly nude, with her legs spread wide open in stirrups and only a small piece of fabric covering her genitalia. Among the non-essential persons present that day was Wayfarer co-chairman Mr. Sorowitz, who flew in for one of his few set visits. Miss Lively was not provided with anything to cover herself in between takes after she had multiple requests. Miss Lively became even more alarmed. This is sickening when Mr. Baldoni introduced his best friend to play the role of the OBGYN, when ordinarily a small role of this nature would be filed by a local actor. Miss Lively felt that the selection of Mr. Baldoni's friend for this intimate role, which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her nearly nude genitalia for a birth scene, was invasive and humiliating.
Yeah. So essentially, and this there's more to this, but she and other members of this production were, dealing with harassment and inappropriate behavior. And so what she did was she requested an all hands on deck meeting in January when they were going to resume production. And the meeting was with Justin, was with Heath, was with Sony was there, like the executive producers from Sony, and she had Ryan Reynolds come. And, in the context now of everything that was going on that set, it makes sense that she had her husband there.
Yeah.
Because
he was like, all right, fucker, I'm gonna come in.
He's Ryan Reynolds.
As he should.
Right? He's Ryan Reynolds. And
As he
she was
should.
she was struggling to like feel safe on this set. And so she said, I don't need to do like a formal HR thing about this. And this is the important part. She did not sue him at that time. Like, this lawsuit is not just necessarily because of the harassment that she faced on set. It is because of the subsequent retaliatory smear campaign.
Yeah.
Because Justin Baldoni was scared that if his behavior got out, like if the public became aware of what happened on that set, that it would look really bad for him.
Yeah.
So at the time in January, she basically was like, we need to have a meeting, and here is everything that I am requesting to continue with making this movie.
Yeah.
And they agreed. And they were like, okay. And afterwards, apparently it was better. But then, the movie comes around. It's time to do press for the movie, and she and the cast and Colleen Hoover, like, by that point, they did not fuck with Justin Baldoni.
Yeah.
So that is why they were doing press for the film separate from him.
Yeah.
And what the legal complaint details is how, because he was concerned that the narrative in the public would be something's going on here and Justin Baldoni is the bad guy.
Yeah.
And there had already been like a couple stories that didn't really go anywhere, but that had made mention of his inappropriate conduct on set.
Yeah.
So he, along with his longtime PR person, hired this PR crisis company that Melissa Nathan is the head of. And the goal was to bury Blake Lively. The goal was to destroy her reputation before Justin, like, if in case anything were to happen to Justin Baldoni. And it was successful.
Yeah.
And thus the digital smear campaign that we saw playing out, but that like a lot of people didn't realize like how cynical it was, because I think we're used to, I think we're just used to like the internet working this way. And what we forget is how often these smear campaigns are directed at women who have brought up their concerns, who have, made complaints about harassment, about abuse. And in order to bury them, in order to control the narrative, these smear campaigns are operated online so that the internet can do, the people of the internet can do the work of, oh, you know what? I think this woman's a bitch.
Yeah, and
I think this woman's a villain.
A very successful job, because I mean, even me, I remember reading a couple things, like TikTok was doing what TikTok does, and I remember being like, ugh, okay, Blake Lively, ugh,
And the truth is, it's because we, in our society, we are socialized to be very ready to tear down successful women.
We
right?
love to bring a woman on top down.
We love to tear down successful women because it's appealing, right?
Yep.
The more successful a woman becomes, the more visible she is. And as a woman, you can't be likable and successful. So if you're successful and you are branded as unlikable, then it's a death sentence waiting to be carried out. And the thing is that people will be like, yeah, but I don't like Blake Lively. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, well, Blake Lively got married on a plantation. Well, Blake Lively has done these sketchy things. It's like, yeah, it's separate though from the facts of what happened here, which is that she was sexually harassed. She was uncomfortable on the set of this film. She raised her concerns, and funny enough, the studio had agreed to not retaliate against her at the time because she raised these concerns. And yet Justin Baldoni went on to hire this firm to run a smear campaign against her.
Yeah, it's so damaging too, because you see it all the time as people weigh whether or not somebody deserved sexual harassment. It's all kinds of abuse, but it's like more commonly like sexual harassment. Weighing if a woman deserved it based on da 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 da. It's basically the what was she wearing kind of thing.
Right.
Where it's like with this situation, it's like, they're weighing, oh, she got married on a plantation, da 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 da. It's like we have these 2 meters, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, if your meter gets up to here, then, if this happens to you, whatever. And it's damaging because then that's what happens in the minds of the people that do those kinds of things is they go, okay, well, like it's just,
it feeds into the perfect victim myth where unless a victim is perfect, then they are not a victim and are not deserving of any empathy.
Yeah.
And that's why these smear campaigns are so effective because they, they paint the picture of a woman who was difficult, right? A woman who's a bitch, a woman who is imperfect in the eyes of how society expects women to be. And so therefore, she, no matter what happened to her, no matter how bad, the behavior of a man in the story was, that is the worst thing that a woman can be. And so ultimately a difficult woman is worse than a man who was abusive or a man who is responsible for inappropriate conduct. And there are people in the wake of all this information that's come out, there are a lot of people who are still supporting Justin Baldoni, who are, saying, well, Blake Lively's a bitch and she did this to herself. Like, sorry, you think that I'm going to feel sorry for Blake Lively now? And the scary thing is, it's like, if this can happen to Blake Lively, who is white and blonde and privileged and wealthy and has power and has a lot of resources and a lot of a lot of things available to her that most women don't, then you understand how this happens.
It's like, why do you think
so
Beyonce is
many
constantly under fire?
When the news of Jay-Z came out, there were people who were already looking to blame Beyonce, which is a thing that happens all the time where it's like, okay, yeah, this man did this bad thing, but the woman. It's just really fucking gross. It's gross to see people who are unwilling to admit that they fell for this smear campaign and like unwilling to change their minds.
That's the thing. You have to be so willing to do that because you would hope that somebody would do that for you, where it's like if something came out about you that was incorrect and then it came out that it was wrong and then people were like, yeah, well, like you'd be like, what the heck?
They'd be like, well, you actually did this to yourself because you are a bad person.
Yeah. It's like, it's okay. You don't look like an idiot if you go like I was like, Blake Lively. And now I'm like, whoopsies. Sorry. That sucks that we just, believed that wholeheartedly.
First of all, liking Blake Lively is irrelevant to like understanding and knowing that it is bad.
Yeah.
that a woman is sexually harassed and then is retaliated against when
Yeah.
she, when she like insists on there being boundaries for safety purposes. Yep. That is bad.
Yep.
It doesn't matter who the woman is. You
No.
don't have to like her.
The worst woman in the world still doesn't deserve to be sexually assaulted or sexually harassed or anything in that
or
realm.
like you shouldn't feel uncomfortable at work. Like that this is, this is her workplace.
Yeah.
These are boundaries that she set. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, it's like, you do understand though that continuing to say, well, Blake Lively's not likable, that is what smear campaigns rely on. Mm-hmm. They rely on you being like, well, the worst part of this whole thing is that Blake Lively is not a likable person. So that's the only thing that matters.
Right. Yeah, they expect you to just like throw everything aside because it doesn't matter because I don't like Blake Lively anyways, you know?
Right.
Like that's
right.
what they want you to do. I saw a tweet today that said people are quicker to condemn women that cheat more than rapists.
Oh yeah.
Like in the eyes of society, a woman that cheated is worse than a rapist.
Just like a difficult woman is worse than an abusive man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the honey scam?
Oh, honey, honey, bum, 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 bum. You
Gonna
are
take
my
your money.
scammy girl.
Do you know what honey is?
I know what Honey is. It's the site where it finds you discounts, right?
It is
Or not the site. It's a plugin. It's a plugin.
It's a plugin for your browser where if you go to buy something, you get to checkout.
Yes.
And there's a little guy that pops up that says, hey, I scanned the internet and I found you all these coupons. And if you want to add them to your cart, let's do it. And you're like, that's a great deal.
Cool.
Amazing.
Didn't know I could get 15% off, and now I do.
Or 60 or 80.
Woo!
Like it's like hey, I scanned, and that is their thing is they say we scan the whole internet, we look for the best coupons, and then we add them to your purchase.
Yeah, seems great.
And everybody's great.
What's the problem?
What's the problem?
What's the problem?
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. So there was a YouTuber by the name of Megalag who I have not heard of before, but they put a video out about Honey, and they have exposed Honey for scamming people, specifically scamming creators who have affiliate codes.
You can't scam people these days without any YouTuber making a video about you.
You're not safe.
Come on.
You're not safe. So Honey is actually owned by PayPal. PayPal bought Honey for $4 billion. And what Honey does is it applies coupons towards your purchase, lots of different sites, whatever. So there's a lot of different levels of how this is a scam, and the YouTuber Megalag actually has another video coming out that at the time of this recording isn't out yet, but he has one video where he specifically talks about creators' codes. So for example, a lot of times what internet creators will do is they will say like, hey, I am working with this water bottle company, right? And if you click on this link and then you go to their website, if you buy something, then I get a little bit of a kickback, right? Mm-hmm. Like you get a discount, I get a kickback, everybody wins, the company gets more sales. Win, 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 win. And there is this thing on the internet. There's a lot of different ways that they do it, but most of the internet works on the last click sale policy, which means if you have a code for the water bottle company and somebody goes to the water bottle company based on your code and they go, I'm not going to buy one today. And then I have a code and they click on my code and they go, I get that sale because I'm the last click.
Yeah.
So even though they clicked on it from yours, they clicked on mine last. So I'm the one that gets the money.
You bitch.
I gotcha. Gotta be quicker. So most companies work on this like last click because it's the easiest to track. It's the easiest to do. So what Honey does is you have a code. Go buy a water bottle from this company. I'm Honey. Okay. So customer comes to you, they get your code, they go to the water bottle company, they go to checkout, and then I come in and I say, Honey, hey, I have a code.
Yep.
And they
it's
go,
a plug-in, so it pops up.
I have a code. And so then the customer goes, oh, sure, why not? 20%. But because I technically am the last click, you just lost your sale.
Ooh.
which is really predatory because it is a plugin that lives in the browser, so it will always be the last click. The problem is that these creators don't know that, and the person who made this video, Megalag, he figured this out by going into like the URL, looking in the like the code of stuff, and basically seeing there's this little code that is like, okay, you know, if I go to this website and I buy a water bottle, Caroline's going to get money. And Honey wipes that, puts its own code in there, and Honey gets the kickback.
It's kind of like when, you know, when people run marathons? Well, there have been some instances throughout the history of marathon running where there will be people who like drive along the route and then find a strategic place to jump out and pretend that they've been running the marathon the whole time, when really it's like they just run the last quarter mile. And in some cases have like won prize money, have won like prestige and acclaim, but really it's just that they drove their car or like took the train
and shot the person that was running.
Exactly. And here comes somebody after 26 fucking miles and they get beaten out by somebody who just jumped in front of them.
Hey, we made a sale.
Hey, wow, how about that marathon, huh? That was hard.
So a lot of creators that we know have worked with them because Honey doesn't say that they do this. They don't say that they're fucking people over. And so like Linus Tech Tips is an example of a YouTube channel that used to promo them, like push them, and then Linus Tech Tips were like, wait a minute, we know what you're doing. We're done with you. The problem with Linus Tech Tips is that they didn't say anything. They realized this was happening and then they stepped away because of it, but they didn't blast them.
Why? Hello, share with the class.
Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of YouTubers that have worked with them. There's a funny clip here, Markiplier. This is from, I want you to just watch this clip, actually. Okay. I'm not going to preface it. I'll start it over 1 sec. This is from like 4 years ago. I have a natural
distrust of Honey. I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
Oh my God, he is him.
I don't know what it is. But my gut tells me that nothing in life is free. So where's all these savings coming from? And
because the coupons are big.
That people get from Honey, I don't trust it. They push so much advertising. On YouTube. They do brand deals with other YouTubers. I think they've even offered me, and I said no because I just don't trust Honey. I have a feeling there's going to, in like a couple years, there's going to be the great Honey conspiracy of like 2022. And I don't know what it is. I have no,
only 2 years off.
Wow.
Like, I got no problem with like the concept of an app that like clips coupon codes for you. That's great. That sounds great on its surface. But there's some shady shit going on.
Too good to be true.
He goes on for about 4
Markiplier
minutes.
being crazy about Honey for 3 minutes.
He goes on just talking about how much he doesn't trust it because the savings are so big, which like he's right.
He said if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So somebody somewhere is getting screwed, and the question is who? And now we know like what's been going on.
So there's another facet. So that's the first level of why Honey is fucked. The second level, and I'll tell you the third level we don't know yet because the next part of this YouTube deep dive hasn't come out yet. But the second part is that Honey says, we found you a 20% off discount code. And you go, oh shit, okay, that's pretty good. Turns out what's happening is Honey says, we scanned the whole internet and we found this one and it's really good. It's the best one here. And you go, awesome. Honey is not doing that. Honey is going to the water bottle company and say, what's a coupon that you want us to approve?
No.
And the water bottle company goes, okay, you do this one. You do this one. So Honey is not scanning the whole internet. Honey is saying, hey, water bottle company, you give us a little bit of money. We are going to feed the customers this coupon and then everybody wins, right? They don't get the best deal, but they get a good deal that you've approved with us. And we're going to tell them that we looked for the best deal. So all of these things are happening with Honey, and Honey has been doing these things for a while. So the preview, I'll tell you the preview for the next update in this YouTuber Megalag's next video is people talking to a camera. Their voices changed, they're blurred out, and I'm gonna make a guess. So by the time this comes out, that video might be out, and I could be totally wrong. But I think that Honey somehow is getting access to like employee discounts because the things that the person is saying in the preview for the next video Honey is giving people these deals that we didn't approve. Like Honey is giving people like discounts that we like didn't like where are you finding these? Where are you finding these discount codes? Honey also does this thing where if you have Honey Gold or whatever it is, every time you use it, you get like a point system, right? So Honey will be like, hey, we searched the whole internet. We didn't find anything, unfortunately, but you still get points. Meanwhile, the affiliate code you clicked on, they don't get the sale. Honey gives you the points. Honey doesn't give you a coupon. Honey wins. Anyways, I am excited for this next part of this video by Megalag to come out because I'm intrigued now.
I have a question. Is anything not a fucking scam?
No. Nope.
Seriously, at this point, what and who is not a scam?
Great question. I think you wake up, you drink water, and then the rest of it's a scam. And even drinking water, you still have
Why are there so many kinds of waters? How have we been convinced?
Fuck you, Dasani.
How have we been convinced that we have to buy Fiji water and spend, you know what I mean?
Fiji water tastes so much better. Yeah, so that is the Honey scam of 2024. Markiplier saw it coming, so I'm interested to see what Markiplier has predictions. Somebody needs to pull up all the Markiplier predictions.
So next episode is going to be our probably like wrap up of the year predictions for next year. What's in, what's out. We should predict like what scams we think.
What scams are going to come up?
Going to come up next year.
We'll come up with like 3 scam predictions.
Because let's pull a Markiplier here. Okay, let's get it on the record and be like, you know what feels too good to be true? You know what feels like it's too for a scam?
We should message Markiplier, get him on the podcast, and just have him make predictions. We don't want to know about your life. We don't want anything. We just want you to be a groundhog, and I want you to...
Yeah.
Markiplier walks into the shed, sees his shadow. We get 5 more scams this year.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's time for our favorite segment. Do you think? Yes?
That's where I'm going to edit the thing in.
Okay.
Now mine is recent and not recent at the same time. However, somebody told me about this and they said, you should talk about this on the podcast. And I was like, that's a fantastic idea. Have you seen, I'm going to pull up a video and I want you to tell me if you've seen it or not, which knowing you, there's a chance you haven't. Okay. Have you seen on YouTube the Cybergoth dance party video?
Those words aren't in the Bible.
Oh my God, have you not seen this? This is amazing. Let's skip forward a little bit.
Oh my God.
You've never seen this?
No.
Ah! Okay.
Did somebody send this to you saying, I bet Caroline hasn't seen this?
No, I just assumed you had because this video is called the Cybergoth Dance Party, and it has 20 million views on YouTube. It's 13 years old.
Oh my God.
This is a YouTube relic. It is a video, for any audio listeners who also haven't seen it, is a bunch of people dancing under what looks like just an overpass, like concrete.
Yeah.
Looks like just like a concrete highway overpass. They're all wearing what is known as cybergoth. So it is a lot of goth wear, but also mixed in like cyberpunk type stuff. And they're dancing to this music. And it's just kind of an intriguing video because all these people have gathered in the church of Cybergoth and they're just dancing together. And they've just gathered. There's the guy with the white t-shirt with the blood on it. There's the guy in the front with the soul patch and the long hair. There's the person in green. There's this girl who's my favorite character.
Yeah.
She's lost. And they They just
That
go at
guy's
it.
definitely on drugs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're all dancing now. This video became an internet meme because when it came out 13 years ago, obviously everybody was like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? Nobody had ever seen anything like this. It was just interesting. These people are dancing so seriously. It's like
It's also
they're in
very
church.
individual because that's the thing with like this style of music, this rave, that they are participating in, is that it's a very individual thing. They're not dancing necessarily with each other. It's not a group dance. It's everybody.
Yeah. Yep. They're there. It is Mom, I want to go to the rave. We have the rave at home. And then they've met for the love of the game.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is a second POV of that video popped
Mr.
up.
President, a second cyberpunk goth video has hit the towers.
Exactly. There's a second angle. Here's the second video uploaded by a different person.
Wait, but when was this uploaded?
This was uploaded when the first one was uploaded.
Oh, but people just
This one
weren't aware of it?
This one has 48,000 views. It's been up for 13 years. So nobody knew it was there. And most of the traction that it's gotten has been recently because somebody found it. They were like, wait a minute, there's a second POV. So if you watch this, the camera's like here in the back of this car.
Tells more of the story.
It's like seeing a second video of like the JFK assassination. Like literally, like it's about the same amount of hype. Somebody found it and they posted it on a Reddit thread like a couple years ago, and it got a little bit of traction, but not a whole lot. But in November, somebody found it and they posted it on Twitter. The username is Chiwi the dog.
Oh, so it was a dog that found it.
It was a dog that found it.
Okay.
And so they posted it on Twitter and it's gotten a lot of traction. I mean, the tweet has more likes than the YouTube video has views. So it's basically been like resurfaced. People have known that it's been there, but it hasn't gotten the big kick. And so people, me included, online are just like, oh my God, this is a video I've seen a million times.
But it's different.
And it's a different angle.
Or it's like, when you take a picture of yourself and then there's a picture that's taken of you and
There's a guy in the window that took the picture of the back of your head.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God,
That's
who
a
are you?
terrible
Why
angle.
are you on my roof?
You're like, hi,
Hey,
if you're gonna
pervert.
stalk me and take photos, can you please get my good side?
Yeah, can you not get the back of my head?
Please.
Yep. Now you know.
Man, this year's been full of surprises.
Now you know.
All right, well, mine is not anything like that at all. But do you know what the Tom Cruise cake is?
No.
Okay. You don't know?
No.
So the Tom Cruise cake, it is a white chocolate coconut cake from Doan's Bakery in Woodland Hills. And for years and years now, Tom Cruise orders like 300 to 400 every Christmas season and sends them out to his celebrity friends. And so some of the people who are on this list who receive the Tom Cruise cake every year are Renee Zellweger, Graham Norton, Rosie O'Donnell, Henry Cavill, Kirsten Dunst, Colby Small, like random.
Yeah.
You go, I didn't know Tom Cruise had friends.
Yeah.
Let alone like
I feel like there's something in the cake.
Angela Bassett. Like what? And the other thing about the cake is that sometimes people are removed from
The cake list.
From the cake list.
No.
So for instance, Brooke Shields spoke out about how she was removed from the list for reasons unknown to her. She's like, I was
taken off the list.
I don't know what happened, but I am no longer receiving the Tom Cruise cake. So he has been doing this since 2008 because at the time he was married to Katie Holmes, if you remember that. This was after Nicole Kidman.
Yep.
And Diane Keaton, we got a lot of celebrity names here, okay? Diane Keaton had introduced this cake to Katie Holmes when they were filming Mad Money in 2008. And as the story goes, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes had a big party at their home. Diane Keaton, I guess, brought this cake, and Tom Cruise fell so deeply in love with it that it became...
He was like, I need to buy one for everybody.
That he was like, I need to send this out to 400 of my closest friends in Hollywood. But the funny thing is, like, it's the Tom Cruise cake, but he has nothing to do with the making of this cake. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this cake is famous because Tom Cruise once upon a time tried it, loved it so much, and then started sending it out to people.
Can you go into that bakery and get it all year round?
That's the thing, is that you can. I think it used to be that it was like this, kind of elite thing where only people who were on Tom Cruise's list.
Yeah.
The other list.
They're like, no, I'm on the list.
Not
I'm on the list.
not the Scientology list, but the
cake list.
The cake list.
Yeah.
But I guess like the bakery sells the cake and you can buy it.
Wow.
You can
Is
eat
it in LA?
It's in Woodland Hills. Yeah.
Have you ever had it?
I haven't had it, but I feel like we should have it.
We should
I feel like we gotta have it. But the show Hacks, which is so good if you haven't watched it. There's an episode in the show where Deborah Vance, who Jean Smart plays this character, Deborah Vance, who is a stand-up comedian. She receives the Tom Cruise cake, and her assistant, her writing assistant, sees the cake and is like,
"Oh my goodness,
is that Tom Cruise cake?" And Deborah's like, "Yeah, I'm not eating sugar though." And so she eats the cake, and she's like, "Oh my God, it is so good. Like, it's as good as I've always dreamed it is."
We have to get it.
But I guess like Tom Cruise doesn't eat sugar.
He's putting something weird in it.
Something's going on.
He's like cutting his toenails.
Apparently he's
and
like always
training
training for some Mission Impossible movie, so he can't eat sugar.
If the mission is so impossible, why do they keep trying it?
Hey, Mission Impossible, but not when it comes to Tom Cruise. All right,
he can do anything.
The only one who could make that mission maybe possible is Tom Cruise, because of like the, I don't know, power that this cake possesses. That it's like this special thing. People who receive the cake will post it online. Like Mindy Kaling, I guess, is on the list, and she posted it with the caption, "If you know, you know."
Okay,
it is like,
girl.
Yeah,
like,
we
must have it. You know what we should do?
You know what? We will know. We will know.
We should make our own, and then we should post it and be like, "If you know, you know."
Oh my God.
If you know, you know.
And then tag Tom Cruise. I don't think he has social media, does he?
We just make him an account.
We'll make him an account.
Yeah.
Yeah. At
and only
if you know,
us.
you know, like, thanks TC. Maybe we use the initials.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. We're cutting this part out. If you see this, no, you didn't. That's incredible. That's a great let me know.
Thank you.
That's a good one. When we came in, you were like, I have one. I'm not really sure about it.
That's
in my head. That is let me know segment.
That is.
That is.
That's a thing that you should know about.
Yep.
And I always kind of knew about this Tom Cruise cake. I did not know how big the list is, but also that people will get removed from the list.
We have to intercept.
I really do want to try this cake.
No, we'll get it.
But the thing is like, I don't want to just go to the, like, okay, yes, we can go to the bakery and get the cake, but I want Tom Cruise to send me this cake.
What if we go wait outside the bakery and then we intercept when
he's
just anytime we see a cake box come out, we intercept, we check if it's not the cake.
Okay.
We know
like a sting operation.
Approximately a cake will come out of that bakery in the next today, maybe.
Oh.
They probably shut it down at night and they have like a night crew and they just pump out like 400 of those cakes.
What if we get like Meryl Streep's cake?
Then Meryl Streep doesn't get a cake. You know what? You're fine, Meryl.
No, she doesn't need a cake.
Just let them have cake. Us.
She has 3 Best Actress Oscars, okay? She doesn't need Tom Cruise's
it's
cake.
fine. You can live, Meryl.
Please. Anyway, that's all I got for you.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and Merry Chrysler.
Merry Chrysler.
To all those that celebrate.
You know what I just realized? Tom Cruise has more holiday spirit than us. We got to get it the fuck together.
We're sending all of our friends cakes.
Okay.
Not real cakes, cupcakes. Mini cupcakes.
We're actually not doing that either,
Cookies.
but we're going to, just the idea of it.
We're sending out recipes for cupcakes.
We're going to
a picture of a cupcake.
We're going to send a picture of a cake.
We're just going to text our friends a picture of a cake.
Yeah.
We should do that. We
Merry
should text all of our friends the picture of the Tom Cruise cake.
So you know what? We started off this podcast as Grinches, as Scrooges, and now we are Saint Nicholas herself. Mm-hmm. That's us. So Merry Chrysler, everybody.
Chrysler. Happy Honda Days if you celebrate.
Happy Hanukkah. Merry Kwanzaa.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Christmas Hanukkah Kwanzaa.
And a happy
New Year. Except we will have one more episode before the new.
That's true. And we're going to do like a recap of 2024 pop culture. So make sure that you like and subscribe so that you can watch that. And also we're going to film the Patreon part right now in which we're going to talk about the movie 28 Days Later and answer all of your burning questions.
You need to be free.
Goodbye.
Hey.
Move. Body